Alright, welcome back to another episode of Business OneTake, everyone. Want to quickly apologize for the delay of this video because for the past week I've been fighting off food poisoning. Ate some very bad beef last Thursday or Wednesday, I believe, and pretty much had a very rough last almost week here now. But on the end of it, I'm feeling well enough today to at least record a video for you guys, so I didn't want to delay any further. Hopefully this gets out to you on time. Also want to apologize for kind of my eye position here. I'm using the front-facing camera so I can also, number one, see the time, see where I'm positioned, but also just kind of stay focused a little bit here. But I know things are going to be reversed in general, so I want to apologize for that. Last time I did the rear-facing camera, it shut off on me twice, so I had to do 3 one-takes to get one take out of it. So hopefully this time it works. Go from there. But today I want to go ahead and continue what I've kind of been building upon on these one takes. So we went from establishing your business idea and coming up with the starting budget. So then today, obviously, we need to talk about how do you fund your business? So how do you go about and actually starting your business plan, going ahead and just starting your dream? Like, you know, if you've been working on this for days, weeks, months, years, how are you going to go about starting your business project? How are you going to go ahead and get it launched? And startup funds is usually kind of where that question dives into. So whether it's seed investments or starting up your business, whichever, how are you going to get started? I've fallen into that category because I worked on my business plan kind of ever since my sophomore year in college when I was studying abroad, and it just kind of developed as I was in Korea and Japan. And then I kept working on it through college and even after college. And it was just, almost 6, 7, 10 years of just no one really investing into the idea of what I wanted to do. And then 5 years ago, now more than 5 years ago, just kind of decided to go off and do it. So what are the ways you're going to go ahead and fund your business? And there's many ways out there, because once you've determined what your budget is, so you're like, well, I'm going to need X amount of dollars. Well, first thing you can look for is if you already have the money. Let's say you are already from a wealthy family. You've inherited some funds, or you have relatives or someone that that's willing to just lend you the money or just give it to you or invest into your business or whichever, or you just have it. Good for you. Go ahead and start. This video is quite irrelevant to those individuals. But even those of you that do come from money, most people will tell you at the end of the day, when you start something, you should do it with a pool of money so you don't risk all your assets. So I even had, I've had wealthier individuals tell me that they will do their best not to use their own money and always try to find investors, which leads us into investors. So how do you go about finding investors to invest into your business idea, your company, and your concept? And there's many ways to go about this, but typically when you're a startup, and this is my approach coming from, an everyday person. I'm not from the upper class world. I don't know a pool of venture capital firms that I can pull from. I don't have any rich friends or anything like that have, big networks I can tap into. So from an everyday perspective, who do you approach to try to start your business? And the first people that you're going to approach is your friends and family. These are your closest people that you know personally. Now, a lot of people will tell you that you shouldn't do business with friends or family because when you get money involved, that usually, creates a lot of tension and everything. But at the end of the day, those are your closest resources that you can reach out to. And so you can go ahead and present your idea, what you want to do. And especially if you've thought it out, especially with those of you that have friends and then your family members that are a little bit more business savvy, they're going to be more. And the thing is, you're going to want them to question you. If they are questioning you, they are making sure that you are crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's and making sure you're covering all your bases. And that's what you want. You don't want someone that's just going to give you hand you a blank check because, and the thing is, if they do that, hopefully it's because you've done your work. But at the end of the day, like even I have family members that were really critical about the business plan that I initially had. And unfortunately, none of them ended up investing just because, a lot of my family members typically lean towards more the traditional business side of things, traditional professions and stuff like that. So I have a lot of civil engineers, doctors in my family and whatnot. People, my cousins, so people are a little bit older than me, but they went through school to do their respective professions and everything. Other people already had owned other businesses that were a little bit more on the traditional end too, and so they looked at my business as more of like it's more of a hobby, especially for those of you who are looking into opening up a gaming business. It's more so kind of 5-10 years ago than it is today, because I know today it's a little bit more accepted that it is a big business, and there's a lot of that out there, but it's going to take some convincing, because if I'll put it this way, if you can't convince your friends and family to at least even credit your business, so it's like, hey, listen, I don't have any money to invest into you, but I may know someone, so they might refer you. But if they're not even willing to refer you, it's time to go back to the drawing board, because you want to at least be able to get them on board with the concept and idea and the potential of your business plan. But let's say your friends and family don't work out. Like, let's say, they like the idea, but they just don't have the means to fund your business. Then the other thing to look into, and I'll go back to that in a second. So I'm going to go back to the kind of your initial budget. So just kind of bear with me here. The next phase is to look at investment firms. So you'll for those of you who are a little bit more on the technology side and your valuations are up there in the millions and stuff like that, this isn't the video for you, but you're typically looking for seed investment rounds and stuff. You're going for higher profile investment companies and firms and venture capital firms to then inject money to be, seed round, round A, all those things that get confusing, doesn't really refer to like brick and mortar stores and stuff like that. There's plenty of videos out there on that one. But outside of that, let's say you're not able to find any individuals that are willing to invest. A lot of you may look into startup business loans, and I personally discourage you from doing this, because number one, they're very difficult to get, because most banks, and trust me, I pursued these things, most banks are going to require for you to have some sort of equity or put something against the loan so that the bank feels protected in terms of lending you this money. But even if you're able to qualify, let's say you have super credit, you're a great candidate, you have a house you can put it against, you have cash on hand, you have cars you already paid off, you have all these assets that you can put it against. It is not worth risking all that for your business unless you are like 1000% sure this is going to be it. But at the end of the day, it is still a gamble. But the last thing you want to do, especially if you're looking into opening up a brick and mortar shop, a customer facing business, is to have those loan payments as an additional expense when you're starting off. Because in the first few months of your business, while you hear all the success stories out there, people launching with immediate success, not everyone does so. And when you launch, it may take you several months, even years, to finally build up to that capital, that revenue, to even break even and see profit. And the last thing you want to do is start further in the red with these loan payments, because these are going to be consistent. You can ask your landlord to give you a little bit of time on your rent payments and stuff here and there, but your loan payments are going to be due. If they're not done, late fees, and it's going to start affecting your credit. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself into a deeper hole than you need to. And so where I can then go off into tangent for you is, let's say you're not able to find any funding. You're like, no one's willing to give you the amount of money that you're looking to do. And if you don't have it, or let's say you do have some money, and maybe you do have one or two people that are willing to invest some sort of money, some sort of amount. Well, what does that look like then? Like, can you start your business? And where I'm going to tangent into that is, be willing to adjust your startup budget. And what I mean by that is, look at your overall business plan and see if you can go ahead and trim it down to a very bare necessity need. Now, for those of you who are looking to build a product or service, whether it's online or a physical product to sell and source and stuff, this doesn't really apply to you, because you're going to be starting up. You should have already started your respective businesses, because it doesn't require for you to budget out all these expenses for like a brick and mortar store like this. You're more into the product design and cost and everything like that. You can literally start sketching out your business and your product on paper and get going. But for those of you who are looking into brick and mortar stores, customer facing businesses and stuff, see if you can start small. Because trust me, my original business plan for this started off in the millions, and then it came down to $500,000. Then it came down to about $300,000. Then it came down to $100,000. Still couldn't find anything because I had no experience in the game world other than my 10 years at GameStop that I had, and I was corporate America after that. And so what I decided to do was I narrowed it down to about $30,000. So million down to $30,000 to just build a proof of concept store in a small strip mall location. And if you actually look back in my very first video, you can see how small it was and where I started at. And trust me when I say this, it wasn't built to last. It was built to be more of a proof of concept because I had an individual that was willing to be like, I'll invest into your $100,000 business plan idea if you show me that you can go ahead and make a part of that work and show me that you can gain customers, revenue. Just show me a proof of concept. And at the time, I didn't propose to my wife at that point yet. We didn't have kids. My wife had a steady paying job. My parents were doing okay, and we were living with them. And so it was like, this is time for me to do it. So I just went for it. And the rest is history. Like, I don't need to kind of bore you guys with the rest of the stuff there. And trust me, I don't recommend starting that low. But if you're willing to put the work in, that's kind of where you can go from. Now, I really don't recommend starting off that low just because it was a hellacious last 5 years trying to catch up to my business plan. But the thing is, I say that to you because the less you start with, the more you trim. You know that you're going to have to keep reinvesting as much as you can to keep growing to your business to where it needs to be. So the more that you can start off with, it's not necessarily the better. And I'm going to tangent here again later just because I personally feel like if I had all the money in the beginning, I actually would have wasted a lot more. Because my business plan overall remains relatively intact, but how I executed it along the way in the last 5 years definitely would have varied in terms of just everything that would have to gone into the store and stuff. So now, would it have made it a lot easier? Hell yeah. But having to raise it along the way, always playing catch up, that had its challenges. Let's be nice about it. But if you can definitely find some people to go in with you, you can share the risk a little bit, and that should help. You also have to factor in too that you're going to be working a lot for nothing. And what I mean by that is usually the first few years of starting up your own business or company. So even non-brick and mortar stores, your own respective businesses, most people don't end up paying themselves. For those of you that do, and your business is running in the red, it's time to look in the mirror for those kind of things. Now, I went over this in a TikTok video in terms of like how much should you pay yourself, but that's a whole different conversation to have another time here because I'm running out of time here according to my little counter. But that's definitely something to think about in just terms of if you're willing to put the work in. So like I only bring that thing I brought up as like a last minute thing. Because let's say you're not able to find any investors right away, but there might be people who might be willing to invest if you can prove to them that you're willing to put the work in and that your idea is unique enough that it could work. And it can happen. And so I don't discourage you if you don't have that much money, to not go for it. If you have the drive, because I always have a lot of people who say, "Oh, I'm motivated and I'm ready to do this." But are you really ready and willing to make the sacrifice to build your dream business? Because I've seen a lot of businesses come and go in my last 5 years. I've seen competitors come up and competitors leave. And I've seen and that's throughout the country. I've seen so many people come and go. And I've heard reasons on why people quit, and most of the time it's just because it boils down to they're just not willing to put the work in. So, or they're not willing to put the work in for no income return and stuff. So, it definitely requires a special person to do that. And I'm not saying that I'm special. I would say I'm more crazy than anything. But I'm already at my time limit there, guys. So sorry if I didn't quite answer and go over that topic fully. But hopefully it gives you guys some ideas on kind of where to start at least, and ideas and maybe some inspiration if maybe you're not able to find all the resources you can to go ahead and pursue other means to go ahead and try to fund your business idea. If you guys want me to talk about this topic a little bit more, please go ahead and leave a comment down below, in terms of like how you want me to talk about it in further detail. But the next video, I'm actually going to probably go off in a little bit of a tangent and talk about why I decided to start franchising my business. So why certain businesses like to either expand in-house or they franchise. And so I'll kind of go over that topic next time. But again, guys, if you guys are liking this series, if you're liking this video, please go ahead and let me know by sharing your thoughts in the comment section and leaving a thumbs up. Easiest thing you do is just leave a thumbs up to let me know you liked this video, and I will continue on to making it and hopefully making it better. I know the first 2 videos, my energy level was kind of like a meh because I was kind of getting used to the topics and stuff like that. So we're going to work on it, but I'm already over time limit, so we're going to get going. So please, whatever time of day it is in the world that you're watching this video, please have a good day, good morning, and good evening, and see you in the next one. Peace.